Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing my first book review. So I've decided that I'm going to do a spoiler-free section first and then going into my spoiler section, because obviously that makes so much more sense. For my first book review on here on BookTube, I'm going to be reviewing The Sin Eater's Daughter. I've had this book on my shelf for so long, and finally I've gotten around to reading it. I read the short stories first, the Heart Collector on my Kindle first. That was like 3 little short stories, because I wasn't really sure when you should read them within the series, and had a chat with someone on Instagram, and then I decided actually I'm going to read them at the beginning. Really glad I did actually, because some of those short stories, it was just nice having more detail into like what was going to happen a bit later on. With that in mind, it's quite good because you kind of get like the timeline from when things happened in the short stories to when they happened in here, but I think it's still like a great read even if you read them afterwards. For any of you interested in my amazing beautiful Disney mug, today's mug is Maleficent. There is so much that I really want to talk about with this book, so I'm going to really do my best to make sure I stay spoiler free in this point. So basically the whole idea of this book is about Twyla. I assume that's her name, that's why I'm saying her name, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Basically the gods have chosen her. She is bestowed with a gift. Not a great gift, but she has a gift. And said gift is that she is poisonous. You touch her skin, you die. Which is a really fun, really fun gift to be bestowed on. So basically, she works for the royal family. Basically, she kills traitors. It's a great job. It's lovely. She's isolated, she's feared by everyone. She is this weird symbol of faith and hope for this country, yet at the same time, they are all terrified from her. And it's quite sad because obviously they are like terrified of her, because you cross the queen and that's it, like you're gonna get sent to her. And it's very sad because Twyla holds herself in a way of, instead of being power mad by this and being like oogie boogie, Twyla instead is very much like, oh my god, like don't touch me, don't come near me. She's really quite like, she is literally like, no one touch me. When she walks around, she's like, people shy away from her and like back themselves up, like she will make no sudden movements because she is so fearful of that. And I actually really like that trait of her, that actually she's surrounded by all these people, yet she herself is so lonely because they are all just terrified of her and terrified of the queen, and you know, rightly so. Reading that book, the queen is nuts. So in this book, she is destined to marry the prince when he comes back from his progress, which is like him like running around the kingdom finding out stuff about everywhere else. And she is protected day and night by her guard, and then she gets a new guard, and it is basically her and her friendship and her relationship with this new guard once her original guard falls ill. And it's quite nice because it's someone who doesn't see her as, you know, this scary poisonous frog who'll kill you. It's someone who sees her as a person, and she is aching to be spoken to and just treated like a normal human being, and she feels herself, you know, falling into that trap of being able to be a normal person. And then she's suddenly remembers herself, no, here's my guard, I can't talk to him like this, I can't behave with him like this, because even if she didn't do anything that remotely counted as treasonous, anything could be counted as that, and the queen could decide, you're becoming too friendly, I don't like this, off with his head. It's that sort of world that she lives in. I have to say, I never questioned anything of her having these gifts or being, you know, this, of like that set in that world is something I never questioned. My biggest question regarding it actually was how they discovered that she had these abilities. Because Twyla is a Sin Eater's daughter, and what I liked about this book was there was lots of, it had its own, they've got their gods, and how Twyla's re-embodiment of a goddess came about. I really like that. And then I like that they have this like Sin Eater who is a person whose job, I mean, sucks, but it's kind of cool. And throughout this book it is sprinkled full of memories of when Twyla used to go with her mother to do this, and basically your coffin would be laid out and your family would put on a feast, and of these feasts each food symbolises a different sin. And I think it's really cool that how she, even though she's no longer part of this life anymore, she will say, oh, I wonder, you know, what foods I will have sprinkled, you know, at my funeral, or people will be eating this because it symbolises this. So I think it's really cool that she dropped in just little bits of how this country works, and it's like its historicalness. I really like that because it could have been something that became like really heavy. I'm still trying not to get like too spoiled with this, it's very, very difficult. I think it had its moments where it definitely lulled, and then suddenly it would go back up and it would be like, oh my god. It was one of these books that when something happened, good grief, it happened, and it happened quick. And I think for anyone who was commuting with me on a train would have seen some wonderful facial reactions, because for most of that book I was sort of going, oh my god, ooh. Ooh. It's really hard not to react, because it was one of these things would just come out of nowhere, and then I would be like, whoa, what? It wasn't even like it was suddenly building to this thing, it would just happen, and you'd be like, oh, okay, this is happening, right, okay, right, let's go with it. And then the story would not necessarily lull, but we would come over that and we would continue with Twyla's progress and what she's doing, and then it'd suddenly be like another thing, and you'd be like, ah, what's happening? Which I really love. For once, it was one of these books where I couldn't predict where it was going. For me, I watch a lot of TV, I read a lot of films. I guess plots to things very quickly, very easily, and for me, that's not a big deal. That won't ever spoil something for me, providing that the story is told well. I can read a book or watch something and be like, oh, okay, right, this is clearly where this is going. But so long as it's told really well and there are lots of things happening and the development and the characters and all of that, so long as that's good, it doesn't bother me. And for once, this was a book that I couldn't really guess where it was going to go. And I quite like that. It's quite nice. It makes a nice change for me, because I guess knowing where something is going to go can get quite boring. So yeah, for me that was like, it was quite a nice change, because the back of it doesn't give you much on where this is going to go. The blurb of it literally does read of Twyla and her gifts and skin being poisonous, and how the meeting of her new guard sort of changes everything. And obviously that there is a big secret kind of within the royal family and within this land, and just how stuff unravels basically. So that is it for my spoiler-free section of this book. Thank you for joining me. When you have read the book, then please come back and join us. Don't forget you can check out other videos of mine, but thank you for coming, and I would love to know your thoughts about this book and what you think of it so far, and if you're thinking about reading it. Hello! Spoiler time! Okay, so the biggest thing that I struggled not to say anything about was the big reveal when Leaf was like, you ain't poisonous! It was so wonderful. I loved how that bomb was just dropped. This was the thing I was referring to of, I never questioned her being this. I just wanted to know, okay, well, how did they discover it? Because as a child, she wasn't poisonous. But how is she, like, as she's grown up? So that was something I wanted to know. And so when Leaf just comes out with it and says, you're not poisonous, it's all lies, I loved it. I thought it was, because I was just like, oh, holy crap, what is happening? And I think the way it happened, and I was just like, ah! It was really cool. And I really enjoyed that whole section, because I was just like, where is this gonna go? Like, how is this gonna happen? And obviously Twyla is like, no, I'm this person, and the gods are going to strike us down because I've kissed you, and the gods will strike me down because I didn't take the morning's bane, and obviously it doesn't happen. Part of me wanted, because I wasn't sure how she was going to react to it, and I thought she's very much going to be in denial over this, so part of me was hoping that she would have to execute a prisoner, and then because she didn't take the morning's bane, she would know that she wasn't poisonous anymore. Or, I don't know, I just wanted something else to happen where she would, I don't know, I kind of also wanted the maid to be in it, a bit more. Demeanor, but obviously, if you've read the short stories, then you'll know what happens with her. That's all I'm going to say on that. I kind of wanted more people to be weirdly in on it in a strange sort of way. But yeah, I loved the reveal of that. And then, I mean, the best section, again, what you'll see what I mean when I say it lulls, is that not much overly happens. I mean, obviously stuff is happening, but then the next whole big thing is that bit when she's been arrested, she's in court, and then suddenly it's the Queen on trial, and it's all kicking off. I mean, that moment actually before that, when she's gonna like send her friend to death because she got knocked up, and the King was like, nah lady, well that ain't happening. I loved that moment, because I actually sat there on the train going, and I thought, he's dead. I was like, that's it. I was like, mate, you're gone. I was like, you're heading for Divorcetown. I was just sat there like, he did not just do that. And I really want this to be made into like a film or a TV series, because I am imagining like full on like Snow White evil queen. I can just imagine her just like sat there next to her husband like, bitch, say what? I can imagine her going, okay, that's fine, I'll let this slide because we're in front of people, but behind closed doors, I imagine her to be so cutthroat about it. So I thought that was brilliant. And then when he suddenly became ill, I thought, oh, would you look at that? All those scenes in court were so cool. It was brilliant, and I really loved Merrick. I kept thinking either him or Leaf were going to turn out to be an arse. And the way Merrick was so nice to her, I thought, okay, maybe this prince genuinely does care about her, and maybe he does want to marry her. And all these things he was saying to her about saying to her, you know, we can't trust my mum and all this stuff. I thought, is he being true? I kept thinking, is this just gonna be like a double bluff? Is he gonna turn out to be, I don't know. And I just was worrying, which I quite liked, because where the book slowed quite a bit, I kind of thought, oh, like, so I really enjoyed that, actually. That sort of, oh, which of these is going to turn out to just be a complete and utter dick. I'm not going to read the next book straight away. I'm actually going to read The Wizard of Oz first, because I couldn't decide which of those two books I wanted to read the most, and so I thought I'll go for the Wizard of Oz, and it's quite a long book, so it's like the 3 together, and then I will definitely read the next one, which I think is The Sleeping Prince, which I'm really now excited about. Now I've read like the short stories, and he's been like name dropped quite a bit in this book. I'm now like, yes, bring on the crazy! I kind of do hope that it's a bit more fast paced and a bit more is happening, but either way, I'm really, really loving so far this trilogy. The first 2 have really kind of, well, first 2 I include the novella in that, the first 2 have just really been like really good. I would love to know your thoughts, obviously, because if you've read it, you will be able to engage in said spoiler section of this, but please, if you do comment below, please just like at the beginning just say it's a spoiler, because I've like taken great pains not to like get carried away and yammer on and include spoilers in my first bit, so that would be really quite lovely. I can't wait to pick up the next one. It's going to be so good. Thank you so much for joining me on my first book review. I wasn't sure how to do this properly on BookTube. I've done a lot of written ones before, but I sometimes find it easier to speak because I get carried away, and you can't really type weird strange noises and hand gestures, so I definitely think I prefer doing it this way. So yeah, I've had fun doing this, and I really hope you liked it, and I hope that you will come back and like give me tips on what you want to see more in like talking about these and all that stuff, but obviously I want to hear your thoughts on this book too. So that is it. Thank you for joining me. It'd be great if you could give this video a like and you could subscribe, and I will see you next time.